I want to turn now to CBS News Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett, who was in the room for the announcement. Major, what kind of early reactions are you seeing?
Well, the White House is obviously very pleased with this announcement because it has unified congressional Republicans who have been a bit uneasy the last 48 to 72 hours, to put it mildly, in reaction to the, let us say, charitably uneven rollout of the president's executive order on immigration. This has knit them back together because this is a fight they want to win. This is a fight they believe in. And they believe, more importantly, Elaine, that this is a fight that President Trump, as a candidate, took to the country in an unprecedented manner in the 2016 election. Remember, in May of 2016, he released his first list of potential nominees to the court should he be elected. That list was 11. Interestingly, Neil Gorsuch wasn't on that first list of 11. He was on the second list of 10, added to that original list of 11, making it 21. But in that entire conversation during the campaign, at rally after rally I attended, Elaine, then candidate Trump said the Supreme Court is on the ballot. Not only will there be a nominee to replace Judge Antonin Scalia, but there could be 2 or 3 or 4 other vacancies on my watch. And if you want me to fill them, elect me your president. That's what happened, and that's what the Trump White House will say to the Senate and more broadly to the country as this confirmation battle begins. And this will knit together Republicans. It will knit together those in the conservative judicial community who had long been skeptical of Trump as a candidate. But when he was transparent and open about taking the Supreme Court seriously and then campaigning on its behalf on the hustings, those Republicans, particularly those on the judicial conservative side of the spectrum, and that's kind of a small knit group within the Republican Party, they really said, he is identifying our issue, he is elevating it in a way that no previous Republican nominee has, and all of our other misgivings have to be put aside because he has put a laser focus on the Supreme Court, and we're going to follow him in that pursuit. And the reaction I got in the East Room this evening after the nominee was announced, absolute, complete support. So the White House feels it is as positioned as well as it possibly can be for the nomination to succeed and ultimately prevail in the Senate, but they know they're in for a very tough fight.
Major, I was struck by the fact that ahead of the actual announcement by President Trump, of course, there was reporting by our own Jan Crawford, about Neil Gorsuch being among the front runners, but the final decision was not leaked in the way that sometimes in the past, as you well know, happens in Washington. I wonder what that tells us, if anything, about the way in which this White House operates.
Well, President Trump wanted no leaking of this information at all, and the White House was on complete lockdown today. I have lots of different sources in this building and outside the building, and nobody could get anywhere near the information, and nobody was in a mood to share it. It was clear that Neil Gorsuch, based on Jan Crawford, our colleagues' reporting, was the leading contender, and up until 2 or 3 minutes before the president made the announcement, he was the likely contender. I got a couple of texts literally seconds before the president said Neil Gorsuch that it was going to be Neil Gorsuch, but that's how tightly held this was. The White House knows on matters of this magnitude, not just this, but others, President Trump demands absolute security, absolute secrecy, absolute fidelity. And anyone who wanders away from that reservation on issues of this magnitude are going to hear from him directly, and it did not happen.
All right, our Major Garrett at the White House for us. Major, thanks so much.
Sure.